Here. Okay. Let's do this. Power Blade for the NES. This is a game that I got recently very obsessed with because of an episode of the GM Word of the Week, the Mad Adventure Society podcast that I write for. Did an episode about the boomerang. And this is... There is no music just yet, so all you'll hear is that typing noise. And we get this... Oh, there's explosion noise, too. And alert noise. Game audio should be turned down. Gotcha. Okay. Game audio going down. Going down. Okay. Should be better now. Okay. Alright, how is it now that we have some music here? Oh my god, I forgot that the contacts had names. I actually had forgotten that there was whatchamacallit, the story here. Martin Douglas looked like he didn't know they were taking his file picture for him there. Oh my god, the game is actually explaining the rules to me. And grab the secret tape units. A lot of thought went into why this video game was a video game. Because really, it's such a video game, as were most of the NES games in the... Wow, holy shit, they really are just explaining the whole damn game, huh? And restore order to society. And watch your backside. Yeah, so the question is that Duke Nukem? No, that is Nova. Whoops, okay. So, Power Blade was a game, it was, developed by, Taito back in 91. And there he is. Nova with his metal pants and his boomerang. And as you can see, so you got the basic story. So this is the New Earth colony. It's the year 2191. Alien terrorists attacked the master control computer that controls the New Earth colony and controls apparently all of society. So you basically you start with the stage select screen. You have to clear each of the sectors, so in very Mega Man-y fashion, like pick the level and do it. But there is no, like, finishing one level doesn't actually change anything about the game. So, it really doesn't matter which levels you go to, except that Sector 1 is easier than Sector 6, and they get progressively harder as you follow them. So we're going to follow them by numbers, and we are going to go to Sector 1 first, the rocket, that's the New Earth space launch pad facility thing, as you can see from the picture there. That's the rocket launch facility. Go! And so basically this is an action platformer. You are Nova, who was a member of the security team that protected the master control, or the master computer, before the alien terrorists took it over. And your primary weapon is this boomerang. And as you can see, it's got a pretty short range. You can throw it in the 6 cardinal direction, or, those 5 directions. Or 6 directions. Plus, if you jump, you can throw it down into the right, down into the left. And it seems pretty simple and straightforward, but there's actually a lot that goes on in this game that makes it a little bit more complicated than it seems. Okay. I should also mention that the music in this game is absolutely fantastic. So, basically, for example, at the top, if you look at the top, you'll notice that I have, oh, I picked up the power-up already. There is that power bar, and when I throw the boomerang, the power bar goes down. And that power bar determines how hard I'm throwing the boomerang, and therefore how far it will travel. And right now, my maximum power is pretty low. I also did pick up a power-up that you didn't see that changed my boomerang. It's got a much more curved appearance to it. There are 3 power levels of the boomerang, or 3 levels of damage. So now my boomerang is boomerang level 2. So the idea of the game is, as the instructions explained, in each sector you have to find the agent who has the ID card that will unlock the security door at the end of the level, then defeat the boss of the level. Whoops. And it seems straightforward enough, but number one, okay, so now that's the star power-up, because enemies randomly drop power-ups, and oh shit, I was talking about it and didn't pick it up in time. Alright, well, we'll drop it again. And that's a grenade power-up. We'll talk about each of the power-ups in turn, because the power-ups are what kind of make this game unique. Okay, so I just picked up another power-up, the double boomerang power-up. I can now have 2 boomerangs on the screen at one time. So whereas before I could only have 1 boomerang on the screen at a time and I had to wait for it to come back, and now that's boomerang level 3. So now I throw the most powerful boomerang there is. Okay, and that's basically, so there's three damage levels of the boomerang. This item is the power suit, or actually is the titular power blade. And once you find it and put it on, you can take 3 hits before it is destroyed, and it allows you to throw this little this blade, what they call the power blade. And that's what made Nova so special. He can use the power blade. Hamburgers restore your health. You'll also notice that the power blade is limited by my power, so the range is limited just like the range by boomerang is limited. And this is the hidden agent on the level. Now, what makes this game interesting, which isn't immediately obvious, is that it is very non-linear. Okay, in that you have to locate before you can get to the boss door. Before you can open the... Okay, and the star increases my power, so you'll see now my throwing range has increased, because I can throw things with more power. So one of the things is that you have to find the agent who has the ID card, and that guy dropped a, You have to find the agent who has the ID card before you can open the boss door. Which means you have to explore the... Oh, and the triple boomerang upgrade just dropped and I didn't catch it. In addition, there are 2 power blade suits hidden in every level, which make it a bit easier to go through the level as long as you can hold on to it. And one of the most powerful aspects of the power blade is that it can fire through walls. You may not have noticed, and a lot of video games at the time didn't do this. Whoop. Oh, and I just picked up my triple throw, and looks like a hamburger. Sometimes you don't notice the power-ups coming out of the enemies. So now I can actually have 3 boomerangs on the screen at a time, which doesn't mean much right now because I'm in the power blade suit. But a lot of games didn't do this at the time. Oh, and there's an enemy power blade soldier who has the boomerang. And there's the other power blade suit. Because in addition to the ID card, there's always 2 power blade suits hidden on every level. And there's also 1 E-tank, which I'll show off when we get to. So the basic point of the game is to explore the levels, and follow the different paths. And Sector 1 is pretty linear. It doesn't give you too many choices. because it is the first sector. But after that, the levels become more sprawling with more different paths to follow. I'm going to lose my Power Blade suit here. And it becomes much more focused on sort of a scavenger hunt. Each level is basically a scavenger hunt. Find the agent, at the very least, you always... Okay, see, now I lost my Power Blade suit because I took 3 hits. Okay, so now you'll notice my boomerang will not go through walls. Which is something that not a lot of games at the time did. A lot of the games didn't bother programming collision on the weapons. And the fact that the Power Blade does go through walls makes it much more useful. So anywho, and I think here, by taking this top path, yeah, I find the third item, which is the food. Not the food. It's an energy tank. It lets me. So I have, if I hit the pause menu, you can see that I have the 6 tapes that I have to upload to the 6 sectors to gain access to the master control program, so that I can destroy the master control program because the alien terrorists are taking over Earth with it. And there's 6 different sectors I have to explore. I can find an ID card for each sector, which lets me get into the boss door. And then over on the left, you can see I can carry a stock of grenades and a stock of energy tanks. Energy tanks allow me to refill my health. Grenades allow me to destroy everything on the screen. In addition, you constantly want to be powering up your boomerang. You want to get your boomerang to max power. So you can see now, I've got myself up to the max throwing range because by picking up stars. I've got myself to the 3rd boomerang, the red boomerang, by picking up the boomerang power-ups. And I haven't yet found... I haven't grabbed the triple boomerang yet, so I can only have 2 boomerangs on the screen at one time. Also notice when I throw the 2nd boomerang, I throw it at whatever power is left in my meter. So if you don't let the power in your meter refill, you lose the range on your boomerang. See, if I try to throw the boomerangs fast, because my power gauge hasn't refilled, I don't throw them as far. So there's actually, like, a lot of complicated... I shouldn't say complicated, but there's a couple of different interesting mechanics going on here. And then we have to fight the boss. Okay, this boss is pretty easy. He moves back and forth. When he raises his shield, I can't damage him. He jumps over me. And he fires shots at me. And I'm actually... This is not going so well. Yeah, okay, so I got killed. But that's okay. When you get killed... And I'm glad I got killed to show it off. You do lose some of the power-ups that you have picked up. So you'll notice I was back down to boomerang number 2, and my maximum throwing power is reduced a little bit. So as you die, you lose some of the power-ups you've picked up. As long as you don't die, you stay powered up. And that's how we do it right. You get to the end of the level, you take your data tape, you upload it into the computer, it disarms the sector, whatever that means. Because all of this, like, let's be honest, this is all gibberish. This is all an excuse to have a video game. Right? So now I have unlocked the first sector. And now we'll move on to Sector 2, which is the New Earth Colony power plant. I think it's wind and hydroelectric power, I believe, if you keep watching the backgrounds. So you'll notice we keep all the power-ups that we picked up from the last level. And this level is a little bit more sprawly than the last one. So for example, there is that ladder that climbs down off the screen, or I can go up here. Now, one of the things that this game likes to do a lot is jumps that you can just barely make. It's just one of those things that the game likes to do. Oh, and fun fact, those giant bubble-spewing heads are clones of the alien terrorist monster that took over the Master Control computer. just fun fact, in case you were wondering. Hey, what are those giant heads? Well, that's what they are. Okay, so now I have triple boomerangs, I have the 3rd power level, and I have the maximum throwing range. So my boomerang is fully powered up. As long as I don't die, my boomerang stays at full power. You do also have a limited number of lives. I have 1 life left. And then, if you lose all of your lives, you can continue where you... basically by restarting the stage you're on. But, you lose all of your power-ups and have to repower the boomerang. So, the penalty that death carries is basically that it depowers you from the stuff that you've collected. And because the game is basically a 6-level scavenger hunt, it does kind of set you back a peg, but it is easy to recover from a death. It's not as easy to recover from... a game over. That said, there are some pretty easy ways to exploit the game, because enemies respawn if you walk off the screen and walk back on the screen. You can sort of farm for power-ups if you really want to play that way. You can also use the nature of the throwing and returning of the boomerang to attack enemies, attack them on the backswing and what have you. Okay, so here's the agent for Sector 2. I wasn't paying attention, I can't remember these names. What I don't understand is these agents can obviously get to where they're going. They can get here. Why can't they just get to the boss and win? They also have the metal pants. Which I assume, metal pants I think is the uniform of the New Earth Colony Security Forces, obviously. And you can see too that this is the hydroelectric dam portion of the power station. I'm not making that shit up, by the way. The maps were, I mean, obviously they're video game maps, so they're all platformy as hell because video games. But at the same time, they did actually try to give a little bit of the appearance of what the sector was supposed to be. Oh, okay. So that's, I was trying to remember where the energy is on this level, because again, you wanna hunt through the whole level for finding both powers. Like, the power suits make it easier to get through the level, because there is a damage boost on the power blade attack, but not so much so that they're really vital. But having the maximum number of energy refills, having 4 energy refills, is really useful in the later sectors. And I hate this section. If you come into contact with those squishers, they will damage you, even if you, if you just jump into, well, here, if I fall through it, see, it damaged me, and it took off my power suit. This jump is also a pain in the ass because you have to do it just low enough that you don't actually get into the hitbox of the masher, while still clearing the jump without bunking your head on the ceiling. Yeah, so it is very much an action platformer game, unapologetically an action platformer. And I jumped too high and ended up in the masher. That's fine. And I'm coming in this direction because I think this is where the energy tank is for the level. But if I recall correctly, going down this way doesn't get me. Yeah. See, now if this is, here, I'll show you. I'm gonna use a save state to show you what I mean. So once we make this drop, we can't get back. Oh, we can get back up here. Never mind. I was about to lie. Oh, because this is where the other power suit is in the level. Okay. Now, if I go to the left as those platforms drop, that leads me back to the beginning of the level, and eventually I'll hit a drop I can't come back from. And the levels do some of that shit where if you take the wrong path, it'll be a path of no return and it'll take you back to an earlier point of the level. So you have to kind of redo some of the challenge. So guessing the wrong direction, the punishment for it is having to replay sections of the level again. Which, honestly, for this type of game, it's kind of a, it's a reasonable element of challenge is you went the wrong way, now redo these sections again. I mean, so like I said, I would define this game, it's not quite exploration-based gameplay. It's more of, what I would define this as is a scavenger hunt game. I almost didn't make that jump. Like I said, the game loves to give you jumps that are just slightly too, just barely jumps you can clear. All of the little guns that run along the ground, they speed up if you're on the same vertical plane as them. And they will only open up and fire and become vulnerable to your attacks when you're on the same level as them. Okay, so Sector 2 boss time. Sector 2 boss is the Dragon Wheel. He goes back and forth, he breathes fire at you, and then he turns into the Fire Wheel. And sometimes he goes up. So we're going to go ahead and use one of our energy tanks here. Yeah, because sometimes he rolls high and sometimes he rolls low. And there we go. I was starting to get the timing back at the end. One of the interesting things to note is that there's also an arbitrary time limit on these levels, and I think I kind of commented on this on Twitter the other night. When you get down to it, live systems, continue systems, arbitrary time limits, all of those are holdovers from the arcade days. Okay, and now we go to Sector 3, which I want to say this is the, so this is the New Earth Biological Research Station. So they're biological research. Oh, and by the way, the bosses of each level are actually security devices specifically created to protect the various terminals of the master computer. So those are not alien invaders. Those are actually that's like what we designed as our security. So we decided that the main security for the power station, the hydroelectric and wind power dam, should be a dragon that turns into a disc, turns into a buzzsaw, and breathes fire and kills shit. Jumps. Okay, well, I don't have to go back that way now. I got the food. So, like, if I continued on that path, it would eventually loop back around and bring me up here, because the correct path is up, not down. But going down the down path allows me to get the, I keep calling it the food, because when I was a kid, it reminded me of a can of, it's like a can of food. But it was the energy. I hate these little jumpy guys. And they are really doing a number on my health. I can probably just run right under them, right? Yeah, alright, well, whatever. I might game over already. Gonna use a grenade here. So you can tell this is a biological research station because green goo. Which is, that's just always, eventually in every biological research station in every video game, the biological research is just there out on the floors and the walls and the platforms. Why am I... There we go. Those wheels, by the way, cannot be defeated. So, one of the interesting things, though, about this game, or I keep saying one of the interesting things. Okay, so interestingly enough, this game was originally released in Japan, like most Nintendo games of the era, and it was released under the title of Power Blazer. And the graphics were substantially different. Nova was this little big-headed, cartoony, almost like a Mega Man type character. But what's more interesting is that that frog is going to keep respawning, isn't he? The levels themselves were completely redesigned when the game was localized. In addition to the graphics being completely changed, they changed the game from basically linear levels, where you just basically go from left to right and up to down, and there were not multiple paths, and there wasn't a scavenger hunt aspect. They were just linear levels. So they redesigned the levels. They increased Nova's speed and his jumping height. So the game was completely redesigned. It wasn't merely localized, which also when it was localized, they changed the art from like I said, that cartoony big-headed style to this sort of like the action heroes kind of Schwarzenegger style. And the box art sort of matched the art style that you saw in the intro video to the game. So the box art depicted kind of, you know, Nova in the leather jacket with the sunglasses. And that led to an attempt at a lawsuit. It was felt that the box art for the game... Whoa. I didn't mean to drop onto that platform. It was felt that the box art for the game too closely resembled the art from the Terminator movie. The original Terminator. And an attempt was made to sue Taito for... Okay, I did game over here. That's okay. That's okay, we'll restart. But now notice that I have absolutely no power-ups. I'm at the first damage level of the boomerang. My throwing power has been reduced to nothing. The only thing you do retain is you do retain the cans of food that you picked up. So by continuing now, I have to regather all of my power-ups. Oh, I do still have the ID card, though. I don't have to find the ID guy again. Yeah, so in the end, Taito won the lawsuit because the art designer was able to prove that he had based the box art on himself. So, you know, it was himself that he was drawing in basically his, you know, leather jacket, which was his favorite attire at the time, and sunglasses. And so the judge dismissed the case. So now that's boomerang damage level 2. Okay, not having a long range boomerang. Yeah, I knew I was gonna fuck that up. And this is the jump that I screwed up last time. There we go. Yeah, see, not having the power-ups... Shit, I fell again. And of course, when you die, you lose one level. Oh, I picked up a star. And a grenade. The problem is you kind of keep moving, and I picked up a double boomerang now, so I can throw 2 boomerangs at once. Or I can have 2 boomerangs on the screen at the same time. Oops, that's boomerang damage level 2. Oh yeah, okay, so I could, if I just keep running at them, they'll jump over me. That's good to know. And hamburger. Also note that sometimes that most enemy shots will not travel through walls, but some enemies can, like the little buzzing bee copters here. Yeah, so what else about this game? So localization completely rewrote the game, so it was actually a completely different game. I'm curious to actually get a copy of the Famicom version, the Japanese version of the game. Because I'm really curious to see how different it was. There was a sequel to this game that came out, Power Blade 2, and that was kind of disappointing because it took away the scavenger hunt aspect of the levels and the multiple paths through the levels in favor of, again, just a very linear design where you go from the beginning to the end of the level and then fight the boss. And as you guys know at this point, any game that lets me kind of wander freely and asks me to hunt shit down, I am all over that. So I don't need to go talk to the agent again. He's not even there. Because once you get the ID card from the agent disappears. And those zombies keep coming back to life. I'm trying to think what else was interesting about this game. Mad Adventure asked how popular it was. It was actually, it got a lot of good coverage when it came out. In fact, Nintendo Power ran, it was a cover, it was actually a cover, it was on the cover of a Nintendo Power issue, which gave complete maps of the entire game, which is actually what enticed me to rent the game, was when you actually, one of the interesting things, and I can't, there's no way for me to show it off, but one of the really cool things about the map design in this game is that if you look at the entire map of a level and put all the screens together, all of the art is continuous. So like, on the dam level, for instance, there were 3 levels of the dam itself, and you know where all the waterfalls, and it all joins up. So if you actually look at the whole map spread out over 2 pages in a magazine, the maps looked like these really cool environments where they just laid the platforms and the ladders over them. You know, the screens themselves all join up and follow a sort of consistent logic. And it was looking at the maps in Nintendo Power that said, oh my god, I have to buy, I have to get this game. And I didn't buy it because, back in, what was it, 91 or 92, I wasn't exactly swimming in $70 or $80 to buy a new video game. Instead, I would go up to the video store. It was either the local video store or the Blockbuster, and hope that they had the game that I wanted to rent. And it was at that point that I had my Nintendo Power subscription, and God, did Nintendo Power sell me on a lot of games. That was also why I bought Battletoads. Because again, Nintendo Power did a gigantic feature on Battletoads. Who is the boss? Oh, the bees. Okay, so the boss of this level, the biological research level, is the bees. Okay? It just keeps spawning bees at you, and you'll notice that killing the bees doesn't do anything. You actually have to wait until the hatches open, the 4 yellow hatches, to disgorge bees, and then attack them with your boomerang, and eventually you'll do enough damage that you'll break the hatch. There we go. So see, I knocked out that first hatch. And you'll also see that the enemy's life meter went down. There's a couple of things, like, if I really want to get picky about this game, there are a few issues with it. Like I said, one is that it was actually really easy to exploit the respawning enemies aspect. Because, because of the importance of power-ups, to stay fully powered, it was really easy to just run back and forth, find an area where soldiers would just keep spawning, and then go ahead and just keep running back and forth, kill them until you fully powered yourself up. So the game was exploitable. The other thing is that the hitboxes, the platforming controls are really good. Okay, the hitboxes on the platforms themselves to determine... Sector 4... Sector 4 is the construction zone, I think. Yeah, I think it's called the construction zone. I think this stage is under construction is the deal. Okay, and we can't make this jump. Whoops. Ha! Trick throw. That's what I mean, where you can kind of exploit the boomerang's pathing back to you. And the fact that you can throw in multiple directions. So, but... And like I was saying that the actual platforming hitboxes are really good. It's very exact. You know exactly where you are. If you land on a platform, you land on that platform. There's not a problem with you like glitching through the platform or where the edge of the platform is and where in relation to where your feet are. It joins up. It matches up, which is really important in a platforming game. There were a lot of platforming games that really fucked up the hit detection on the platforms themselves, which was that's a big issue. But one of the things that the game does have an issue with is the hit detection on the sprites, particularly some of the larger sprites, is really... I think I want to go down first. I don't remember. I think now, see, the problem here, too, is, like, now we have this... See, going down here is a risk, because I cannot jump back up here. If I, you know, I'm stuck with down now. It's a permanent choice. Which is sort of the way the level design, you know, the level design adds a little bit of tension and risk just to your exploration by putting you in situations where you might end up back at the start of the level, or, you know, once you take a path, you might have to loop all the way back around if you need to take that path again. And one of the annoyances is occasionally you would find the boss door before you found the agent with the ID card and couldn't get into the boss door. You would have to go back and find the agent first. Also, like I said, once you figured out that there were 2 Power Blade suits and 1 can of food in every level, you always wanted to have as much cans of food as possible, because being able to refill your hit points was very useful. Particularly in some of the last boss was one that always gave me a bit of trouble, and so I always found it very important to make sure that I had all of the cans of food I could. There we go. Took a few tries, but I got there. So the other thing is that you can bait these enemies, because they will only come out if you're on the same vertical level as them, by jumping up to sort of bait them into coming out. And the reason we go in this direction is because we got the agent and also the can of food. But this is actually a trickier jump than it looks like, because you will bonk your head on that platform above the can of food unless you make a slightly small jump. And the other thing is that you have to be moving out to avoid bonking your head on the platform as you try to jump out again. And again, if you were to look at the map of this level and see where the outside of the building is versus where this sort of blue hanger pattern on the walls in the back is versus where the open sky is, you find that it all kind of joins up. Again, the actual map design for this game is sort of a work of art for the time. You know, in place where, why would, you know, normally it wouldn't care. You know, you don't normally care that things join up like that, because who would notice it? You would only notice it if you actually spread out the maps. One of the other things I'm going to show off is if you jump from too high a height, I probably should have said it before I did it, but, okay. So when you land, Nova goes into a kneeling stance for a moment, so you're kind of stunned after too high of a jump for a moment. And that's important to realize here, because there's a nasty trap right there, because that platform, those 2 blocks there, will fall out from under you, and if you jump to them from here, because of that stun, because you get stunned after too high a jump, you will fall with the platform. So it actually wants you to go around. Yeah, this is the construction zone, because all the scaffolding is not complete and there's still a lot of open sky. And there's the other Power Blade suits. Now we found both Power Blade suits. And again, we can use the aspect of the Power Blade suit to shoot through the walls and take out the enemies below us without having to engage them. Anyway, one of the things that I find compelling about this game is not, like, while most games at the time had a life system as a holdover to the arcade days, where you had to limit how many tries you got at a game so that you could keep sucking quarters out of people. So you drop a quarter in, you get 3 tries at a game, and then if you want more tries, you have to drop another quarter in. One of the interesting things that this game does, though, is because of the importance of keeping yourself powered up, the fact that when you die, you lose those power-ups, or you lose one level of power-ups, and if you have to continue, you lose all the levels of power-ups you've gathered. It does add an aspect. It actually makes the life and continue system more significant. It doesn't make it just seem like this vestigial holdover, which is something that game designers had started to do at the time. They were starting to realize that a lot of the crap that we were doing from arcade games was no longer necessary once we got into the 90s. And so they were starting to play around with the mechanics in a lot of different ways. And you can see an example of that in this game where Lives and Continues, they thought about, well, how can we make this more significant? They weren't quite at the point of, well, maybe we don't actually need a life system, or maybe we don't actually need a continue system. But they were at the point of, Lives and Continues by themselves make the game really trivial, so how can we add another layer to the fact that you have multiple lives and that you have multiple continues? And it was by depowering you after you died. That on top of the fact that the power suit also gives you 3 free hits, and it has a more powerful weapon. The game actually rewarded you for getting good enough to play it where you played it without taking hits or without dying. So there were layers of the challenge. You can beat the game, sure, but can you beat the game without losing the power suit? Can you beat the game without having to repower your weapons? Can you beat the game without having to continue? And there were advantages to play. The better you were at the game, the better the game played. And at the same... Oh, okay. So this is the security program for this section of the New Earth colony, which is the Lightning Knight robot with the man boobs. Because this, again, is an appropriate security system for a computer terminal. And you can see that he swoops back and forth. That big lightning bolt in the middle will damage you, so it prevents you from jumping over him, or jumping to avoid the lightning bolts that he throws. So the key is just to keep moving back and forth the way I did, without jumping. Do not jump in that level, or you will just take the damage. Alright, and now we're on level 5, which is the New Earth Shipyard. And this level actually has one of the coolest, one of the coolest maps, especially if you look at the whole map all laid out, because it is actually, the level is just one big ship that you board here. So we went on, we were on the dock and we boarded the ship, and now we're on the ship and we're ultimately going to end up in the conning tower. But first we end up going through the ship's hold. I think we want to go through the hold first. We might end up wandering a little, because I can't remember where the agent is, and I can't remember where the can of food is on this level. Also, I should have my grenades on. And you do have a maximum of 4 grenades and 4 cans of food. And because enemies keep periodically throwing grenades, it is to your benefit to use the grenades, because you will keep getting more of them. So if you get into a section where you really can't figure out how to clear a room, the grenades will help you do that. That said, I don't use them too often because, again, they feel kind of like a cheat. And I'm one of, you know, like, I play video games as a test of my honor, god damn it. And honorable folks do not use, kill all the enemies on the screen buttons. And I realize that's kind of silly because it is a tool that the game is giving me, but I do feel it's a little bit overpowered. Whoops. So these ceilings, by the way, they drop, they just keep dropping these little robot mines that scurry across the ground and then blow up when they hit a wall. And this is also another one of those jumps that is just wide enough that if you don't creep all the way to the edge of the... if you don't creep all the way to the edge of the platform, you will not make the jump. Yeah, so now see I'm back on the deck of the ship. Oh, and there's the food. Good, I'm a happy camper because I got my food. And now I am actually at the maximum food I can have, which is 4. I'm sorry, I'm just going to keep calling it the food, even though it's not. I'm now at the maximum food I can have, which is 4. So again, there is a reason to use it because I've got one more level where I know I will have at least 1 food, and the final level will actually give you two foods. And now you can see that this level actually is kind of it kind of dicks with you a little bit because the agent is actually right here underneath the boss door, but I can't jump up to it. If I had found the boss door first, though, I could drop back to the agent. But the other part of this is that there is no way for me to get back around to that other side from here without going all the way back through the cargo hold of the ship and going all the way back to where I started. I think because I can't jump to those ladders and I can't jump up there. And this ladder takes me back down into the dropping mine room where I first found the power suit. So now I have to go back the way I came and get all the way back to the beginning of the ship and then whoa, shit. I didn't think I was going to make that jump, so I aborted. I tried to abort it, but I couldn't. So I done fucked up. And again, notice that I'm back down to boomerang damage level 2. Now I'm at full throwing power again, so I have my full throwing range. And I can only throw 2 boomerangs at a time instead of 3. Not that rapid firing the boomerangs is great, because if you try to rapid fire them, the second boomerang doesn't travel as far because your power hasn't recovered all the way. It actually takes until the boomerang gets all the way back to you for the power to recover completely. Which again is like the amount of thought they gave to the boomerang mechanics, the throwing range, and how valuable that throwing range is. A lot of the game, like the throwing range was invaluable there, and like we saw in the when I had to continue in the biological research level, having no throwing range and having to go through that one area was a pain in the ass because I just had no way to hit the creatures before I had to jump onto the platforms they were on. So the game, the power-ups feel important. You also really feel it when your boomerang is not at the maximum power. When you're not at the maximum damage, when you don't have the red boomerang. Oh right, he's not gonna come out unless I, like, bait him out. Totally forgot that. And you really also feel the damage boost that you get from the power suit. From the power blade, sorry. And I find that the health pickups come just frequently enough. All of the power-ups, by the way, are on a random number generator. So, like, every time you kill an enemy, there's a chance that it will drop X or Y. The game will never drop an unnecessary power-up, so it won't drop stars if you're already at full stars. and it won't drop, you know, it won't drop a damage upgrade for your boomerang if you already have all the damage upgrades for your boomerang. So it takes those out of the random table, but beyond that, you know, and again, even being able to fire through walls there made it a lot easier for me to take care of those enemies. Like, I could take care of that guy before I dropped down there. You know, so the longer you hold the power suit, the better off you are. All in all, this game is really well designed. This is actually an interesting one too, because this kind of fucks with your like, if you try to metagame the map design and be like, well, obviously this ladder is going to lead me ahead because it's further along, and try to trick out the game in that respect, if you're going for going right for the goal, that fucks you up, because that ladder just leads to a dead end, and it's actually this ladder that you want. So the game designers were actually very cognizant of the way that players explore a level and the way they try to find their goals. And they actually use that as an element of the scavenger hunt aspect of the game. So now I think we are at the boss. Oh! And now we are at the boss. And the boss of stage 5 is the magician robot, I believe it's called the magician, I think. So it will appear, release bullets in 6 different directions, and then vanish. So you have a short period of time to actually damage it, and to also dodge the bullets. And the thing is, this is actually a really interestingly designed boss from a challenge perspective, because he disappears so quickly, particularly if you don't have full boomerang range, you need to stay close to him if you want to damage him before he disappears. But because of the way his bullets spread out, he is most dangerous when you are close to him. It is easier to dodge his bullets when he's far away. So you try to you're trying to play this game where you're trying to keep him at the mid-range. You're trying to be half a screen away from him, which is about where you want to dodge his bullets, but also where you can get in a hit before he vanishes. The Power Blade makes that fight a little bit easier. If you're relying on the boomerang, then the additional factor of having your boomerang have to fill up the full power before you can throw it all the way across the screen again also means you have to keep playing that range game. And now we're on to the final sector, the City of New Earth. Which again, this is interesting because it is only the color difference that shows me where the invisible wall is, but there you go. This is another one of the really neat maps if you actually look at the map, because it has sewers, it has buildings, and it has streets. And again, they are contiguous from one screen to the other. I don't think I ever pointed this out, because it actually does the Castlevania thing of, even though you can climb down from one screen to another, if you try to drop off the bottom of a screen, even if there is a screen below it and a ladder and you could climb down to that screen below it, the fact is, if you just drop off the bottom of a screen, no matter what that screen is, you die. Okay, well, you can't... I forgot the fish were here. Okay, and now we find... I forgot her name. I forgot all of the agents' names. Like I said, I didn't realize they had names until we watched that little opening video. But, yeah, there you go. And obviously I try to keep the power suits for as long as possible because of how much more powerful the weapon is. We should also talk about checkpointing, and where you respawn if you die. Oh shit, the disappearing button. So here's the Mega Man challenge of the reappearing platforms. Except you'll notice that they don't follow any sort of timing pattern at all. They kind of spawn and despawn sort of randomly. So you kind of just have to wait for a good pattern and go. The only thing is that they will spawn, you know, all three of them will spawn and then they'll disappear. So, and now we can climb back up the street level. I think we'll climb back up via this ladder. So now we're on the streets of the New Earth City, or the New Earth Colony City. And, oh wait, that's back toward the beginning. What the hell was I thinking? As a game designer had a bad day when he designed that, says Arthur HS. Yeah, there's like, and it's so funny because it's like, I think there's only 2 total instances of disappearing, reappearing platform. Oh, I think this ladder climbs back down into the sewers, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, that's a different section of sewer though. Let's go the sewer route, since I don't remember. Oh man, it's the Power Blade suit. And I dropped the platform without realizing it. So we'll respawn the platform. That was, you know, unfortunately, they probably didn't want you to be able to respawn things that easily, because it does sort of take away some of the, like I would have been totally okay if there was no way for me to respawn that dropping platform, and that by not looking ahead, I had cost myself the Power Blade suit. I would have been fine with that. That would have been an okay consequence of that choice. But, you know, it was actually, that aspect of the mechanics is written by the NES mechanics, where the NES just was not powerful enough to keep, but the Nintendo Entertainment System was just not powerful enough to keep track of things once they were off screen. And now I'm completely lost. I don't really remember the layout of this level at all, and I think I'm gonna miss the food. That's okay, I'm at my maximum food anyway. Whoops. Okay, so that's a dead end. Good to know. Yeah, the ED-209s. Hi, gremlins! Unfortunately, we're very close to the end of the game now, and you missed all the brilliant game design analysis. Whoops. Hamburger. Yay. I'm here to kick ass and eat hamburgers. And I'm all out of oh wait, he dropped one. I like the robo-zombies too that come back to life, because again, these robots are security features controlled by the master control program of New Earth. And therefore, we can design robots that, after being destroyed, reassemble themselves and come back to life. And yet, all of the robots can't do that. So we decided that was a feature that only certain robots needed. He's not going to stop shooting, is he? I timed that badly, and that. I guess this is a situation where a grenade would probably be the best choice. So let's go ahead. Oh, and he dropped the grenade. He's like, oh, good, you used that. Have another. Alright. And I'm prepared to refill my food. Who is the boss of this stage? Why don't I remember this one? I don't know why I keep save stating, because I'm not going to use them, but... Oh, that's right. So he only takes damage in his head, is the first thing. And he sort of walks back and forth, and you're supposed to use the disappearing, reappearing platforms to jump over him. But if you play it like that, and just tank the damage, as long as you don't take too much, you can handle him. That boss is pretty trivial, and I can't remember what he's called. Dragon Wheel, the bees, the magician. And now we can access the master computer program, the tower of the master computer program. And now we get a cutscene. Alright, and now this is the final level, and the final level actually, again, has a really cool layout to the map that is hard to notice unless you really look at, you know, if you look at the whole map. But it is basically a multi-tiered tower with, the different floors have varying widths. And there is actually... Man, come on, pop out. So I'm on the first floor of the tower now, and the point is to get all the way to the top of the tower, where the master control program actually resides. But there is actually a power-up loop, where if you come here with less than full food, and I'm going to show it off even though I don't need it, the game gives you the opportunity to fill up your food stock, your energy tank stock. In fact, I'm gonna keep my energy tanks on in case I need to use them, because I am on my last life. So, okay, here it is, I think. If I go across to the other half of the tower, because the tower is, like, bisected in two, I can pick up... power suit, pick up a can of food, and then I think there's another can of food. Yeah. So if I came here with less than full food, I can pick up 2 units of food to finish this level, and now I'm back on the first floor, and there's one more power suit over here. So the game is helping you sort of power yourself up for the last fight if you came here with less than full power. But at the cost of replaying the first 3 floors of the tower, you know, playing the 3 floors of the tower twice. Because now we have to get back up there. Of course, it does give you the power suit for the second playthrough. And what's really interesting is we could have actually picked up that first power suit just by walking all the way to the right on the first floor. So even if you had wasted that power suit, for taking the other, going all the way to the right, looping back around, and doing a few floors again, the game gives you another power suit to make up for it. So, because of the bad hit detection, it used to be possible to stand under these guys, and even when they open their mouth, they wouldn't damage you. But this guy is located right at floor level. And once you throw enough boomerangs in his mouth, he stays with that stunned look and stops throwing bubbles. Whoop, and now we're on the balcony. And now we've got to kind of loop back down and then go back up, I think, is how we do this. Yeah, so we gotta... and then we're gonna go back out. We're gonna go back out onto the balcony the other side. The other thing, by the way, is that this tower, except insofar as, you know, except for the actual platforms, but the layout of the map is symmetrical. So the exterior areas of the tower are the same on both sides. The width of the tower is the same on both sides. I think it's his eyes that I have to hit. Gremlins are Us is saying that this game reminds her of Contravania, if that's even a thing. No, you know what? I'll actually give that one to you. That's actually a pretty apt description of... except, like I said, that the central mechanic is really about scavenger hunting, which was just not an aspect of either Contra or Castlevania. And now we're here outside the door to the final boss. So all we have to do is defeat the Master Control Program, and we win. And the Master Control Program is this hovering head robot that pulls the same thing as the Magician. He fires, you know, he appears, he fires that one bullet that tracks you, and then he disappears. It's a good thing I came here with extra food. I actually find this part of him to be very difficult to deal with, because that bullet he throws goes very fast. So we're gonna go ahead and swallow a food. There we go. Of course he has a second form. So the second form has a weak point, that bubble in the middle, that can only be targeted when it's open. He drops that shit from the ceiling, and also the little rocket engines go off. So there's a lot to dodge going on here. And that's it. That is Power Blade by Taito for the NES. I like how the ending is it tried to have this message, like, see, this is what happens when you give control of your space colony to a machine. But that was, like, not, like, there's no plot in this game. So there's no, like, real, you know, like, that doesn't mean anything. You know, like, it's not that the game built up to that sort of revelation. It's like, how did we go so wrong? The other thing that the game sort of casually forgets about is the alien terrorists. Because, according to the story of the game, the Master Control computer was corrupted because alien terrorists attacked it to take over, to help them take over the new Earth colony. So, and then we had to shut down the Master Control program because all of our security features were destroyed. That said, there's still a group of alien terrorists running around the new Earth colony. I should also point out that if you read the story in the instruction manual, the story actually begins with Nova, who is the security guard, one of the security guards of the Master Control program, or the Master Computer Control thing. He's on his day off, and he's sitting at home on the couch, he's watching the big game, and then all of a sudden his air conditioning shuts down. And then he gets very nervous because his air conditioning shuts down, and then he gets a phone call. And the instruction manual is very specific about saying, and he knew what that phone call was about. Because he figured out that air conditioning went down and he knew that the master control program had been destroyed or corrupted or something. He's like, I know what I'm going to have to do now. I'm going to have to destroy that computer. I knew it was going to come to that someday. Because his air conditioning shut off while he was watching a Spaceball game. Overall, Power Blade was a really neat game. I'm going to boot up the sequel quick. Though I don't have... Like, I'm not as good with the sequel, because I never beat the sequel. And you're going to see that the sequel changed some things. And I feel that didn't do it much justice. So I'm not going to try and play the sequel for long, but I'll at least show it off. So this is Power Blade 2. So this is, by the way, the stage select screen, where you drive this hover bike between the different, and we can select between the 4 different stages, but we can't access stage 5 yet. So you drive your hover bike to the gates of the various stages. The graphics are a lot more complicated. And at the same time, are a notable step down in quality. There's that energy, and I'm not sure what the energy even does. I haven't read the manual for this game, so I really don't know much about it. I had never played it, but one of the things about it is... Okay, so it's still got the throwing power thing. I also feel that the music is of lesser quality. And... yeah, so the stages themselves are cut into sections and are linear. There's no exploration at all. You just kind of... there's only one path to follow. He also, like, you can't see this, but the jump controls feel a lot more off. They don't feel you don't feel as in control. Though I will say they did add the slide move, just like Mega Man did. So now his throwing range is up again. Ooh, I almost fell for that. Oh, okay. Instant kill spikes on the ceiling. Yeah, the chat is agreeing with me that the game feels like it was trying to do too much, and ultimately it just didn't work. It didn't have any of the charm of the original. Because I will say I really loved Power Blade, even though like it wasn't a particularly renowned game. It wasn't too well known. And it didn't do so great. It was just, even though, like I said, Nintendo Power did a lot of marketing for it, and it did get very high ratings. It was highly reviewed, but in the end, it was just one of those games that people just didn't really notice. Oh, I just noticed that the stage counter is telling me how many sections there are to the level. So I'm in area 3 of 7 on stage 1. Okay. I'm not sure what that power-up is, but I feel like it's important and I want to get it. Damn it! RPG Logan is saying, are there any spikes from this era that didn't insta-kill? Yeah, right? Like spikes in video games, why did they have like that magical power that they can penetrate any armor, no matter how many hit points you have, they will destroy you. Spikes just like And why didn't the bosses, like, use spikes for everything? Like, why didn't Dr. Wily ever make Spike Man, the robot that was spiked in a spiked arena with spikes? Also, what is the energy that I'm building up? I would really like to know that. I mean, I guess it's my own fault for not checking the manual, because, you know, this was back in the era when video game manuals were a thing. You know, and you know what? I'm gonna be honest, I miss video games coming with manuals. Especially because the manuals for the NES games were usually really good. Damn it. Alright, so one other thing I'm gonna try since I beat that game really quickly is... just bear with me a second. It's gonna look like nothing is going on, but... let's see if I can get Power Blazer, the original Japanese version of Power Blade, because I am really curious to see see how different it was. No, it's not available. Alright, I'm not finding it. Ooh, wait. Here we go. Why is my mouse freaking out? I think I have two... Alright, hold on a second. I have too many USB devices and it's freaking out my computer. Like, it's getting very upset about the number of devices that I have. Okay. No? No, not finding it. Oh, here we go. Alright, bear with me just a second here. Wow. Sorry. I should have thought of this beforehand. At least they're small files. But, I mean, not that I would ever... I mean, this is all in my NES. I'm just seeing if I can quickly purchase and have drop shipped to me instantaneously the whatchamacallit, the ROM of the game, the cartridge of the game. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah, okay, so I'm game over now. But let's, all right. Here we go. This is the original Japanese version of the game we just beat. Oh, hold on, I skipped the... There was obviously a video here. Wow. Alright, the music is the same. I guess the stages... we still have the power station, the... I don't know what all these stages are supposed to be. Okay, well, let's start with the rocket stage. And the music is identical, but holy cow. Oh, you can't throw in any direction except straight ahead. Interesting. Oh, and you have, like, no jumping height at all. This is awful. It feels so clumsy. There may be some graphical problems. There may be some graphical issues because this is a translated. Oh, wow, he has a lot of trouble grabbing the ladder. Like, the hit detection is really crappy on that. Oh, hey, it's the mashers. Oh, look at his duck! He curls up into a sphere! Wow, 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 wow. You know what's really funny, though, is that the music, the awesome music of Power Blade, does not fit this little game. Oh look, you can duck and throw your boomerang. No! Go away! This is incredible. So, this is the... What, this is fascinating because, like, I've never... Like, I cannot believe the extent to which the localization team redid the entire game. Because this really is now just, like, a linear... He doesn't move fast enough to get out from under the mashers. Let's just replay the first one again. This is terrible. Oh, and also his boomerang goes right through walls. Even though I made such a big thing about how that difference was, you know, how much of a big thing it was between the power suit and the normal boomerang that you could fire through walls, this game just... His boomerang just goes right through walls, but he can't throw in any direction except straight ahead. Yeah. I am so... Okay, so you gotta take advantage of the fact that the hit detection is off and scurry through. Whoops. Okay, so the hit detection is not that off. Whoops. I'm gonna die again. Like, the only good... There don't seem... Whoops. Oh, wait, I wanted to stage select. I wanted to take a look at some of the other stages. Alright, so we'll do a soft reset here. Also, it took the... it also took, like, the story away. Like, we didn't get the... Okay, so this must be the biological research lab? Yeah. Okay. Oh. Oh, it just throws those right at you, huh? Okay, giant cartoon robot frog is a little bit different. I mean, that enemy was, like, remember the tiny frogs that shot the energy bullets? Yeah, so, okay. So clearly it's the same enemy. There don't seem to be power-ups in this game. Yeah! Imperial Star Destroyer, since the localization team basically said, okay, guy with boomerang, awesome. Everything else sucks. Yeah, they really did. They just, like, made their own game. Except they kept the music. They were like, wait a minute. Hold on a second. The music's good. And the screen transitions are really fucked up, but I don't know if that's just the quality of the cartridge and the... Yeah, okay. I want to take a look at the other stages, and then that's enough. So this must be the power plant, right? Not that it, like, why, it does not even remotely matter what these stages are, because they look, alright, and one last treat for everyone, after we look at each of the stages, is I'm going to show you what I was actually talking about with the maps, because I have the capability of doing that. He's not grabbing the ladder, he just... I refuse to even call this guy Nova. Unless, except insofar as Nova in Spanish means no-go. I'll call this game that. I like the old school windmills. Yeah, no, those are the power turbines. Those are wind power turbines. That's what they look like. In case you didn't know. Oh, there are power-ups. I just don't know what any of them do. Oh, okay, so those bees are bombs. That's what the grenades became. The grenades were bombs. And I did pick up a range power-up. Oh, and there are health restorers. Oh, burn. Gremlins is like Nova, more like no more. Alright, so the pink cannon monkeys just... Are they invulnerable? No, they just take a really lot of hits. Oh, and there's the flamethrowers. So, like, they clearly... Okay, so the localization team clearly played the game, and they were like, okay... this is good inspiration. Oh, these jumps. With his jump control, these just don't work. And they were clearly like, okay, so there's some really, like, there's elements of a good, hey, there's an enemy Power Blade suit guy. Okay, fair enough. Alright, let's check another stage out here. I'm not sure what this stage is even supposed to be. Oh, it's the military base. I remember that one. This stage... Alright, not sure how to deal with this problem. Okay, there's just nothing you can do about it. Also, okay, just here you can't walk. Like, this is a wall. This is awful. How did... Why wasn't the localization team just writing their own games? Whoever localized this should have just been making games. Taito should have been like, you know what? You guys, okay, you can just make your... Go make what you want. You're obviously good at it. Oh, you know what? I think that's the level that they decided to replace with the shipyard. Because remember how the ship had the cannons on the deck? Hold on, so this level, oh, this is what became the construction level based on the music. Alright. Oh shit, you don't die from falling off the screen! The localization team was like, fuck that. Or that's why they weren't programming games, because they couldn't figure out how to program transitions anywhere but ladders. And just a quick peek into the last level, which should be the city level, right? Yeah, okay, so this is the city level. Yeah, this is the city level. You can identify them by the music. Whoa, this city has a fountain. Sweet. And robot pelicans. So clearly they went to the Dr. Wily... Oh, okay, now I'm at the red boomerang. So clearly they went to the Dr. Wily school of robot enemy design where, you know, make it based on an animal. I can't stand on the benches. I'll take that hard part. Alright. So now, the last thing I'm going to do, is I just want to show you, because I talked about how the map design was actually, that there was an aspect to the map design that you didn't notice unless you looked at the maps. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share something awesome here. Okay, I gotta figure out how to do this. Add window capture. Okay. Alright. So, minimize that. Close that window down. And bring up my Twitch stream. Alright. So this is actually the Nintendo Power issue. I gotta zoom out a little bit. Okay. So this is actually the Nintendo Power issue. Why? Alright, the scene is freaking out just a little bit. Sorry. Okay, edit scene. We're going to go ahead. And here we go. All right. So this is actually the Nintendo Power issue that featured Power Blade. And I loved Nintendo Power back in the day. I was a huge Nintendo Power animal. So if you look at the first level and ignore the scan on this, what I was talking about is that you could see how if you look at the entire level, you can clearly see that it's got the two buildings, it's got the scaffolding, and it's got the rocket launch pad. And the whole level, zoomed out to see the whole map, you actually see how they designed the level graphically to look like what it was supposed to be. Okay, here's the power station. Starting with the wind turbines, and then the dam, and then the building on the other side, and the database at the bottom of the dam there. The Biological Research Center, a little less interesting, but it's still like clearly laid out like what it was. The construction zone. Why the database was up in that floating platform? Whatever. That's the ship, which, like I said, was to me the most impressive map. Because it looks like a ship, and you go up to the conning tower, and you got the hold and everything, and then finally this is the city. Okay, with the sewer level, the streets, the buildings, the whole shebang. And then this is what level 7 actually looked like. Again, notice how I describe it's a multi-tiered tower, with like different levels, with the different levels like growing and shrinking. Whoop. And then there's the Howard Nestor comic. This one referencing Deja Vu. Oh yeah, and then it gives you it tells you. Oh, Skelebot was the name of the boss of that level. And I mean, honestly, this like Nintendo Power was awesome in its coverage because it gave you so much. Like, I know it was marketing crap. I know at the end of the day, I was stupid not to feel like I was being. Look, yes, it was marketing. It was designed to sell video games to kids, but at least the production values were good. I mean, look at the degree to which they actually show you the detail of the game. And like they covered almost every game like that. Oh, I remember Totally Rad. That was a really awesome game. Um this was another really cool game, Swordmaster. It's hard to play though. The English developers. So this oh, Scat was another really cool game. It was a sort of a side-scrolling. It was a side-scrolling shooter, but you were a guy or a girl because you could pick between the guy or the girl character, and you had like a jetpack. Oh, and that was the whatchamacallit. That was the each Nintendo Power issue had a poster in the middle. Sword of Hope. I never got around to playing that, but it was I want to say that it grew out of whatchamacallit, the Shadowrun, not Shadowrun, Shadowgate, and the IRAM Corp, R-Type. So I like Nintendo Power just gave really fantastic coverage on every game, and I really, you know, like I said, Nintendo Power was the reason that I bought Battletoads. I mean, okay, check out what was Battletoads 26? No. Battletoads 25? I shouldn't be showing off this. Okay. Yeah, so this was the coverage for Battletoads. And when I got this issue of Nintendo Power, I knew I had to get Battletoads. Because, okay, Battletoads, it was. They give you the layouts of all the different levels. And then every 3 levels, they also gave you this comic. I mean, terribly drawn comic. And then they would give you 3 more levels, and they covered the whole game like this. And then another comic. That's Professor T-Bird and the Evil Queen. Um, and after, like, when this issue came out and I got this, Battletoads was a game I had to have. Granted, it's like ridiculously hard. Oh, and this was the lead up to the whole Super Nintendo release. Man. Yeah, it was right around the time. So, you know what? That's probably another reason why Power Blade didn't do so well because it must have gotten overshadowed when as the Super Nintendo was being released. Daydreaming Davy was another. So anyway, that is Power Blade, and I mean that was the whole Power Blade experience because I gave you Power Blade, the sucky sequel. We played Power Blazer, and then I showed you the Nintendo Power issue for Power Blade. So my God, that's like full coverage. I'm like a video game journalist here. But so I hope you enjoyed it. I really loved the game, the original game. Everything else that came out of it, like, well, it was what it was, but um, I didn't know there was a sequel until I discovered that there was a sequel, and got really sad because I was hoping for more. So this has just been a fun little casual retro game experience. Arthur H.S. saying that's a graduate level course in nostalgia. Oh hell yeah. Yeah, that was awesome. And for my next